Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something super fascinating, a piece of viral media that has really made waves. We're going to take an objective look at a massively popular explainer by the YouTube channel Official Peeing Human. They've meticulously put together a list of 35 specific fails from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's tenure. Now, setting the actual politics aside for a second, just understanding how these critiques are packaged and how they're consumed in our digital age is absolutely crucial. So let's just jump right in and break down exactly what this viral critique is arguing, using the creator's very own data and examples. It's a real masterclass in modern political criticism. To make sense of this massive 35-point list, we've boiled the creator's arguments down into four main themes. We'll be looking at the media engine, shifting narratives, economic promises, and finally, corporate and spiritual alliances. All right, let's kick things off with theme one, the media engine and public image. 0. Now that's a pretty staggering number, right? The source points out a really stark observation here. The Prime Minister has held exactly 0 open press conferences during his entire time in office. Not a single one. Instead of facing unscripted questions from independent journalists, the creator argues that the administration relies totally on heavily controlled scripted interviews. And usually, these are sympathetic media figures, all to cultivate this sort of impenetrable public image. So where did this strategy come from? Well, the creator maps it all the way back to 2002. Their argument is that after the Gujarat riots, the prime minister realized that an uncontrolled media was a huge political weakness. Fast forward to 2014, and we see this massive consolidation of sympathetic news networks. Then, by 2019, they launch a dedicated television channel that, according to the source, really blurred the lines between actual news and political advertising. And bringing it right up to 2024, the government hosted the National Creators Award right before the elections. The video frames this as a highly calculated effort to get influential digital creators on their side. And this tightly controlled media engine ultimately builds to a very specific climax. The source points to a pre-election interview where the prime minister actually suggested he had a divine, non-biological birth, literally claiming God had sent him. For the creator, this is the ultimate PR strategy. It's designed to elevate a politician completely beyond normal, everyday human accountability. Moving right along, that brings us to theme 2, shifting narratives and accountability. A prime example of this shifting narrative is the 2016 demonetization event. The source actually meticulously tracked the rhetoric here. In the initial November announcement, a massive 78% of the speech focused heavily on eradicating black money. But get this, just 20 days later, as absolute chaos hit the streets, the narrative pivoted completely. Suddenly, 73% of the messaging was all about promoting digital payments. The creator uses this to highlight a recurring pattern. Basically, when a policy's main justification starts to falter, the government just shifts the goalposts. And, the video argues this kind of evasion extends to historical controversies, too. Take the 2009 Snoopgate scandal, for instance. That's where audio tapes allegedly revealed the state tracking a young woman for a mysterious sahib. Or consider the tragic 2002 riots. While the Supreme Court did uphold a clean sheet for the PM, the creator puts that legal clearance right next to chilling sting operations of political members claiming state complicity. The big, overarching argument the source is making here is that there's an active evasion of any direct moral or legal scrutiny. Sometimes, though, these shifting narratives just come down to simple math. The creator points out a pretty glaring contradiction in the prime minister's own origin story. In different speeches, he claims to have lived on alms for either 35 or 40 years. But here's the catch. Since he famously left home in 1967 and became chief minister in 2001, that timeline is roughly 34 years. So mathematically, neither the 35 nor the 40-year claim actually lines up. The creator uses this mathematical mismatch to fundamentally question the authenticity of his whole curated persona. All right, on to theme 3, economics and unfulfilled promises. Remember demonetization from a minute ago? Well, the creator brings up one truly staggering statistic here, 99.3%. According to the central bank itself, 99.3% of the banned currency eventually made its way back into the banking system. The source argues that this one hard number completely destroys the initial justification that banning cash would permanently wipe out vast reserves of hidden black money. The critique then dives into even more hard numbers to push back against the government's success narratives. For instance, youth make up a massive 83% of the total unemployed workforce in India. Plus, despite public declarations that the country is completely open defecation-free, the source cites a WHO report showing that 17% of the rural population still lacks proper sanitation. So it's a really stark contrast between the political marketing we see and the actual statistical reality on the ground.
So, how exactly does the government handle these unmet metrics? Well, the source argues they just move the economic goalpost further down the field. Back in 2014, the big promise was returning black money in 100 days. Then in 2016, it was asking for 50 days of hardship to get through demonetization. But by 2024, the video points out that the rhetoric has shifted completely away from those missed deadlines. Now, the focus is on a super distant 2047 vision. The creator really frames this as a constant delay tactic, just a way to avoid accountability in the present day.
And that brings us to our final section, Theme 4, Corporate and Spiritual Alliances. Here, the video points to the absolutely mind-boggling financial growth of Adani as a key piece of evidence. I mean, Adani's net worth exploded from $8 billion in 2014 to roughly $140 billion by 2022. The source claims that this level of wealth accumulation, happening right alongside the PM's tenure, points to deep corporate favoritism. They allege that public infrastructure and foreign deals frequently and conveniently seem to align with the billionaire's interests. But it goes beyond the boardroom. The creator also details some intense allegations regarding powerful spiritual leaders. The video points out figures who openly promote violence without facing any repercussions. It highlights past praise from the PM for spiritual gurus who are now literally convicted criminals, or those who have faced really severe abuse allegations. It also notes that the business empires tied to some of these spiritual figures grew exponentially, while allegedly being shielded from serious legal action during the pandemic. Basically, the source argues the administration turns a blind eye to all this in exchange for massive religious vote bank influence. All of this leads to a pretty harsh summary by the creator. Stories of science, but actions of superstition. The source points out a massive paradox here. While the administration constantly champions a modern digital India, it simultaneously appeases these spiritual alliances by promoting pseudo-scientific theories. We're talking about officials claiming ancient plastic surgery existed, or straight up rejecting the theory of evolution. All right, let's wrap this up with our conclusion, the anatomy of a critique. So what's the ultimate message behind this exhaustive 30,000-point takedown? Well, the creator explicitly states, "It is my duty to educate the people." The source isn't just framing this viral list as some internet satire. They see it as a critical civic duty. It's an attempt to smash through what they perceive as a heavily funded, highly curated political illusion. And honestly, it serves as a stark reminder for all of us about the sheer importance of media literacy today. Which leaves us with the YouTuber's signature viral catchphrase, "Agar hum kare to kare kya, bole to bole kya." That translates to, what should we do, what should we say? In an era of tightly controlled narratives, shifting political goalposts, and incredibly powerful alliances, it's such a poignant question. How do citizens demand real accountability when the lines between PR and reality are so hopelessly blurred? Think about how you consume political media. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep asking questions.